Before anything else, you need to understand the quiet that shaped her. Cha Do-young grows up as the younger daughter in a family that looks steady from the outside, yet she is the one who never quite fits the frame. Her mother leans on her a little too hard. Her father pours everything into the house, and Do-young herself is born timid, the kind of child other kids already label creepy before she ever finds the words to defend herself. Making friends feels impossible. Adults sigh that she lacks confidence, so after school, she simply goes home and sinks into the glow of the television. That is where the ache begins. On the screen, she finds a boy her own age, polished and luminous, the kind of child who makes every room look brighter just by standing in it. His name is Seo Ki-hyun. Even grown-ups mistake him for a girl at first because the beauty is that striking. Do-young watches every broadcast, every variety appearance, every soft smile he offers the camera. While other children live ordinary days, she quietly rearranges her whole inner world around this boy she has never met. She tells herself it is only admiration, yet the truth is heavier. Ki-hyun feels like the one person who might understand what it is like to stand a little outside of everyone else. She memorizes the subtitles, the MC comments, every line he has ever spoken on air, as if knowing him perfectly could somehow pull her closer. Then one day, the screen goes dark. Ki-hyun's appearances simply stop. No announcement, no farewell. Do-young sits with the sudden silence and asks her father whether he still watches the news. He brushes it off, saying maybe the boy just got tired of it all. But something in her refuses to accept that easy answer. The loneliness sharpens. At school, she still cannot keep friends. They drift away the moment she freezes. Sitting alone on the playground, she decides she needs someone like Ki-hyun, someone who might look at her and not turn away. So she does the only thing her young heart can think of. She goes looking for him. She finds the places he used to film, the streets she memorized from the show. Hope is a fragile, burning thing in her chest. If she can just become his friend, maybe the quiet parts of her will finally make sense. She is so full of that hope, she almost does not notice how the world has already moved on without him. And then she sees him, not on a screen this time, real, walking the same ordinary street she is on. Do-young's whole body locks. She calls his name, breathless, and when he turns, she finally says the words she has carried for years. She tells him she wants to be his friend. What comes back is not kindness. Ki-hyun looks at her like she is something unpleasant that wandered too close. He tells her to get lost. The rejection is sharp, almost physical, and the first real emotion the boy she admired ever gives her is pure disgust. Something inside Do-young cracks open right there on the sidewalk. She runs, tears, panic, the whole fragile dream collapsing at once. Her father finds her in the dark, and she can barely speak. That night, she decides the only way to survive the hurt is to step away from everything that reminds her of him. Even getting her first phone feels like a careful act of distance. Years pass. Do-young becomes a high school student, quieter than ever. One ordinary afternoon, curiosity wins. She types his name into the search bar, and the truth she was never meant to see spills out. Articles about Ki-hyun's father, an affair, a family falling apart in public. The perfect image she once worshipped was already breaking while she still believed in it. Her parents had hidden every headline on purpose so she would not be shocked. Sitting with the knowledge now, Do-young only hopes that somewhere the boy she once chased is allowed to be happy. She tells herself that wanting anything more would be selfish. Just knowing he exists should be enough. Then the ordinary morning turns unreal. On the way to school, she sees him again. Older, purple hair catching the light, walking the same path she walks. For a second, the years collapse. She freezes, heart hammering, and when their eyes almost meet, she realizes the most painful truth of all. He does not remember her. Of course he does not. Why would he? She was only one more strange child who once reached too far. Do-young watches him pass and forces herself to smile. He looks lighter now, freer. If he has forgotten the girl who once begged to be his friend, maybe that is a mercy. She tells herself this is better. Seeing him living well, even from a distance, is enough to quiet the old ache. She walks on, convinced that chapter of her life has finally closed, that the boy on the screen and the boy who told her to get lost can both stay safely in the past. But the story is not finished with her. Later, in a place she never expected, she looks up and there he is again, closer, real, and the question that rips through her is the same one that will keep her awake for a long time after. Could it be a dream, or has yearning just found a new way to begin? Chapter 2 opens in the quiet of Do-young's home, where the ordinary sounds of dinner barely reach her. She sits with her phone, lost in that private little world she has built around a boy she has only ever known through a screen. Her parents call her to the table, talking about customers and the day, while she stays half a step outside the moment. By morning, she is already back at school, moving through hallways that feel too loud and too full. The building itself seems to press in on her, and every unfamiliar face only sharpens how alone she feels in a place she is supposed to belong. She keeps her head down and tries to disappear into the crowd. When the lunch rush becomes too much, Do-young slips away and locks herself in a bathroom stall. She sits there in the quiet, telling herself she cannot hide for the whole break, yet the thought of walking back out makes her chest tighten. This is how she survives ordinary days, by making herself small enough that no one notices. She finally steps out, only to collide with someone in the hallway. A boy steadies her and asks if she is okay, his voice calm and polite. For a second, she freezes, because the face looking down at her is the one she has carried in secret for years. She stumbles, he catches her, and her mind screams his name. Seo Ki-hyun, the polished child actor who vanished from television, is suddenly real, close enough to touch, and somehow standing in the same school as her. The obsession she kept locked away crashes straight into the present. Inside the classroom, she learns the seating chart has put them side by side. Ki-hyun raises his hand when his name is called, easy and unbothered, while Do-young can barely breathe. The boy she used to watch through a screen is now her seatmate, and the distance she always imagined between them has collapsed into a single desk. Then Kim Gaon appears, bright and familiar with him in a way Do-young is not. She watches the two of them and feels the old ache sharpen. Ki-hyun has grown taller, his hair longer, still handsome, and Gaon seems to orbit him with an ease Do-young has never known how to claim. When he asks her name, her voice almost fails her. She manages to say it anyway, Cha Do-young. The words feel too small for everything she has carried, but they are all she has. For the first time, he looks at her as a real person in the same room, not a stranger on the other side of a screen. Class settles in and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Ki-hyun is already the center of everything, the noise, the attention, the easy laughter of classmates who swarm him without fear. Do-young sits at the edge of it all and realizes she was never the only one watching him. She was just the quietest. The more she looks, the smaller she feels. So many kids liked him, so many talked about him, envied him, tore him down behind his back. She asks herself the question that has been waiting for years. If the whole world is already orbiting him, then who is she supposed to be in that story? A tiny accident cuts through the noise. Her pen slips, and before she can reach it, Ki-hyun picks it up and holds it out to her. The gesture is ordinary, almost nothing, yet it lands like a shock. For one suspended second, she wonders if he felt the same jolt she did, then tells herself it was only her imagination. At home that night, her father brings a cake and the house softens into something warm. But Do-young's mind is already somewhere else. She sits down and begins to write the words she has never been brave enough to say out loud, pouring years of quiet longing onto the page addressed to him. The letter is not a demand, it is an apology and a confession at once. She tells him she is truly sorry, that her heart cheering for him has never changed, and that even if countless people like him, she still wants him to take care of her this school year. She wraps the feeling into a small gift, as if paper and ribbon could hold everything she cannot say. Back at school, the gift sits heavy in her hands. Every chance to give it to him slips past, and Gaon notices her hesitation with a single curious look. Do-young's courage flickers, then steadies. If she does not do it now, she may never find another moment that feels this close. She walks up to him before she can talk herself out of it and holds out the box. The words tumble free before she can stop them. It is my heart. For one raw second, the whole quiet ache of her life is sitting in his hands, unhidden at last. Then panic hits. She tries to take it back, to correct herself, but the classroom has already heard. Classmates swarm with laughter and sharp curiosity, twisting the moment into something public and dangerous. Someone asks if he likes her, someone else asks if he is going to accept it. And just like that, the private yearning she protected for years is no longer only hers. Ki-hyun stands there with the gift between them while the room decides what the moment means. If you accept this, they tease, then you will be dating her. Do-young can only look down, trapped between the confession she finally made and the crowd that turned it into a spectacle. Whatever he says next will change the shape of everything she has been holding. The teasing still hangs in the air after Do-young's gift, and she can barely stand inside her own skin. She keeps replaying it, the way she made things awkward for Ki-hyun, the way the whole room seemed to tilt because of her. For a girl who has been clinging to a dream without a plan, the situation is almost unbearable. He feels dizzy, scared. The kids who were laughing at her suddenly sound far away, like noise she can almost deny. And underneath all of it, her heart is hammering so hard it almost feels like something sacred. Because in that moment, Seo Ki-hyun is not just a boy at school. He is a godlike existence to her, something that went far beyond simple admiration a long time ago. The feeling has been living in her chest since she was a child staring at a screen. At home, the questions come soft and sharp at the same time. Do you finally have friends? Her parents mean well, but Do-young can only stumble through answers and apologies. The truth is simpler and lonelier than she wants to say out loud. And yet, ever since Ki-hyun accepted her gift, something tiny has shifted. For the first time, she feels like she is learning what it means to be happy. From the beginning until now, he keeps making her world brighter without even trying. But happiness has a shadow. She watches him with Kim Gaon, and the difference is impossible to miss. The smile he shows everyone else is polite. The smile he shows Gaon is something else entirely. Warmer, easier, real. They have been close since elementary school. When Ki-hyun was struggling the most, Gaon was the one who lifted his broken heart. Do-young is glad he had someone. She is also jealous in a way that sits heavy and quiet in her chest. I'm jealous, she admits to herself. Kim Gaon is pretty, not just her face, but the whole gentle aura around her. Rumors swirl that they must be dating. Do-young cannot stop turning the thought over like a stone. Then Gaon does something Do-young never expected. She asks her to walk to the school store, just the two of them. Someone this kind, this bright, wants to spend a few ordinary minutes with her. Do-young can hardly believe it. Gaon buys her a drink like it is the most natural thing in the world. No wonder she is close with Ki-hyun, Do-young thinks. And before she can stop herself, the question slips out, soft, nervous, almost laughing. Do you happen to be dating Ki-hyun? Gaon's answer is steady and a little tired. We're absolutely not like that, so don't misunderstand. Still, Do-young's hands are shaking. Why is she this nervous over someone else's relationship? She tells herself she is only curious. She knows that is not the whole truth. After Gaon leaves, Do-young stays behind with the sweet drink and a strange warmth in her chest. Good people really do gather other good people around them. For a second, the world feels almost kind. Then she goes looking for a trash can. And there it is, the gift she poured her whole heart into, sitting in the trash among ribbons and discarded things. She tells herself it cannot be. Some other student must have thrown it away out of embarrassment. There is no way Ki-hyun would. PE class, volleyball pairs, Gaon ends up with Ki-hyun like it was always meant to happen, while Do-young tries to keep her hands steady. When he finally steps in to correct her posture, the air between them tightens. He asks if she read the letter. She says she read it carefully, but the look on his face says he has no idea what she is talking about. Of course he doesn't, because he never opened that letter at all. Everything she risked saying was thrown away with the wrapping. Then Ki-hyun draws the line she has been dreading. He has noticed her glancing. It does not feel good. From now on, he tells her, don't even look at me. Unless it is something important, I would rather you not talk to me at all. The rejection lands exactly the way it did years ago. The same cold distance from the person she admired most. She knows she put her own feelings first again and ended up burdening him. Someone like her, she realizes, could never get close to Ki-hyun, not even in a lifetime. The classroom feels heavier than usual today. Rain taps the windows and the air sits thick, and right in the middle of it, Cha Do-young is already folding in on herself like something inside her has started to hurt. Kim Gaon notices first. She leans over with that soft worry she always carries and asks if Do-young is okay, but Do-young can barely lift her head to answer. The pain hits harder. Do-young drops onto the desk, breath short, and when Gaon keeps pressing, she finally admits it is menstrual cramps, the kind that make everything else disappear. Gaon frets over her, offering to walk her to the infirmary, while Seo Ki-hyun watches from a few seats away. He has been quiet all morning, but the moment he sees how pale she looks, something in him shifts. Ki-hyun steps in without making a show of it. He tells Gaon he will handle it, then quietly gets Do-young a heating pack from the infirmary and presses it into her hands like it is the most ordinary thing in the world. He reminds her it is easy to take care of others and forget your own body. Do-young can only stare at the warmth in her lap and whisper a small thank you, the kind that costs her more than she wants to admit. Gaeon stays close, still worried, and offers to go with her to the teacher if the pain gets worse. But Do-young's mind has already drifted somewhere else, back to a note she found and the quiet ache it left behind. The words on that note keep circling, someone who deserves to be loved by everyone. In front of that kind of person, she has always made herself smaller, and the name that rises with the thought is Kihyun's. Class resumes and the teacher assigns a group project. 4 seats per section, 1 group. The room fills with the usual scramble, and somehow the 3 of them end up pulled into the same orbit again. Kihyun claims the empty seat beside him without hesitation. When Gaon asks where he has been, he only shrugs, and the quiet tension of who sits where settles over the 4 of them like a held breath. After the bell, the talk turns to schedules. Gaon mentions she and Kihyun already study together often, and Do-young hears herself agree to start the project tomorrow, even as something small and sharp twists in her chest. Left alone with the arrangement, Kihyun's expression darkens. He mutters about cutting certain people out, the frustration sitting just under his polished surface, before he and Gaon head off together. At a quiet cafe, Kihyun treats Gaon to dessert, the mood lighter on the surface. She teases him about how smoothly he handled the group, and he admits he almost got excluded from the project himself. Then the conversation turns to Do-young. Kihyun says her name carefully, like it still surprises him, and when Gaon asks how long he has known her, he answers that he wants to get closer, that she seems kind. But honesty sits heavier than he expected. He tells Gaon that in front of Do-young he feels strangely exposed, whether the feeling is good or something more complicated, and the admission leaves both of them quiet. Walking home later, the memory surfaces without warning. A woman in a red scarf years ago, staring at him with an expression he has never been able to shake, the kind of gaze that felt like it already knew everything. That look followed him into high school, into every crowded hallway. The woman's face stayed on him no matter where he went, and the discomfort of being seen that completely never really left. And then the name clicks into place, Cha Do-young. The same girl who once watched him from a distance with that unforgettable intensity is the quiet classmate he has been trying to reach, and the realization lands with a weight he is not ready for. The next day after school, the group assignment finally forces everyone into the same orbit. Kihyun shows up polished as ever, while Do-young trails in with that quiet, careful energy she always carries around him. Nobody says the real thing out loud, but the air already feels heavier than homework. They end up at a little cafe, the kind of ordinary place that suddenly feels charged when the wrong people sit too close. Gaon is there too, bright and easy in a way Do-young never quite manages. The assignment is just the excuse. The real work is surviving the silence between them. Someone has to make the slides. Someone has to dig up the research. Kihyun offers to handle the materials while Gaon pitches in, and Do-young sits there half listening, half watching the boy she used to only see through a screen. Even ordinary group talk feels like standing too close to something that could burn. Then the others peel away one by one. Suddenly, it is just the 2 of them left at the table, and the quiet stretches. Do-young freezes the way she always does when the distance collapses. Kihyun looks almost bored, or maybe he is just used to people orbiting him without ever landing. Gaon comes back long enough to notice the awkward leftover pair and cheerfully decides they should stay put. Do-young looks like she might actually melt into the floor. Kihyun just accepts it with that unreadable calm, as if sharing a table with the girl who once stared at him through glass means nothing at all. While they wait, something small and ridiculous happens. There is cake. There is a letter someone left. Kihyun casually admits he ate the whole thing because it tasted good, and Do-young's face does that tiny, wounded flicker she tries so hard to hide. Even the smallest things he touches without thinking leave marks on her. Gaon teases him about it, light and familiar, and Do-young sits there tasting the old ache again. Jealousy does not need big gestures. Sometimes it is just watching someone else speak to him like the distance never existed. Kihyun notices the shift, or maybe he only pretends not to. Later, outside, the real conversation finally starts. Do-young tries to apologize for the gifts, for the letters, for every quiet way she reached toward him when she was younger. She knows how it must have looked. She knows the weight of being the girl who once treated a polished child actor like a dream she was never supposed to touch. Ki-yoon listens with that careful stillness of his. He explains the old fear, the stalkers, the reason gifts always felt dangerous. He is not cruel about it, he is just honest, and honesty from him still lands like a bruise. Do-young takes it because she has spent years practicing how to want someone without asking for anything back. Then the words slip out of her before she can catch them. She liked him. She still likes him. It is clumsy and raw and completely unplanned, the kind of confession that lives in the throat for years and then escapes at the worst possible second. The air between them changes instantly. Ki-hyun goes very still. For a moment, it almost looks like he might answer the feeling itself. Instead, he asks for a favor, quiet and absolute. Stay away from Gaon. The request is soft, but there is nothing soft about what it means. He has liked Kim Ga-eun for 5 years. He wants to be the only one standing beside her. Hearing it out loud is almost worse than guessing, because now Do-young has to hold the truth with both hands. The boy she built her longing around has been looking somewhere else the entire time. Do-young tries to make sense of it, of the bathroom moment, of every glance she misread. Ki-hyun does not soften the edges. He understands she likes him, he says, but that does not change the direction of his own heart. The kindness in his voice somehow makes the rejection cut cleaner. She does the bravest and most heartbreaking thing left. She tells him she wants him to be happy, even if that happiness has Gaon's name on it, even if it means stepping back from the one person who shaped the quiet shape of her whole life. The words cost her everything and still come out gentle. Ki-hyun looks almost unsettled by how easily she folds herself out of the way. He says he will try to fix things with Gaon. Do-young stands there nodding, already disappearing into the background of his story the way she always feared she would. The yearning does not leave, it just learns a new, quieter shape. And then the chapter turns on one last line that lands like a dropped glass. A huge disaster happened. Whatever comes next, the careful distance they just agreed to is already doomed, and neither of them is ready for the wreckage waiting on the other side of that promise. The hallway already feels smaller than it should. Whispers trail after Do-young the second she walks beside Gaon and Ki-hyun, and every glance lands like a quiet accusation. She can feel it in her bones. People are measuring the distance between the three of them and deciding she does not belong in the middle. Gaon keeps the conversation light, already planning another weekend together, but Do-young pulls back with a soft excuse. She watches the easy orbit the other two share and feels that old ache settle in her chest. Being near them is never simple when the whole school treats her like an outsider who wandered too close. Later, buried in group work, Do-young pushes herself harder than anyone asked her to. She keeps glancing toward the empty space where Ki-hyun should be and wonders if he even intends to try. The question sits heavy. Does he care about any of this, or is she the only one carrying the weight alone? When someone notices her tension, she waves it off, claiming she just does not understand the problem. A classmate offers help and she accepts with quiet gratitude, but the smile never quite reaches her eyes. Everything about her still feels like she is performing normal while her thoughts stay locked on him. Across the room, a different kind of message arrives. Gaon has contacted Ki-hyun, and the simple fact of her name on his phone is enough to make him go still. He stares at the screen like the pieces have finally clicked into a shape he does not like. A small, sharp realization crosses his face. So that is how it is. Whatever story he has been telling himself about the three of them just shifted, and the quiet that follows feels heavier than any argument. That same afternoon, Do-young finds herself standing outside Ki-hyun's building for the first time. She tells Gaon she is only nervous, but the truth runs deeper. This is the house she used to watch through a screen, and now the polished world she once yearned for is about to open its door. Inside, the house is every bit as flawless as it looked on television. High ceilings, soft light, the kind of quiet wealth that makes ordinary footsteps feel too loud. Do-young can barely take it in without her breath catching. Gaon moves through the rooms like she has always belonged here, while Do-young keeps apologizing for staring. It is her first time inside a place this nice, and the gap between their lives has never felt more visible. Even the air seems expensive. When drinks are offered, she asks instead if she can look around a little more. Ki-hyun lets her go, but the question that follows is edged. What is she going to do alone in a house that is not hers? The freedom he gives her already feels conditional. He watches her with that unreadable calm, listing teas and coffee like a host who never quite relaxes. Someone teases that she arrived empty-handed, and the small remark lands harder than it should. Everything about this visit keeps reminding her she is a guest who might overstay her welcome. Then Ki-hyun asks the question that cuts straight through her. Why does she hate so many things? Do-young stumbles through an apology, trying to explain that she is only just learning how to be around them. The words come out small, as if she already knows they will not be enough. Gaon steers the mood back to safety, insisting Ki-hyun is not the type to mind if they explore. She talks about how he used to take the lead whenever friends came over, painting him as someone who can be warm if you know how to reach him. Do-young wants to believe it. Left to wander, Do-young finds a family photograph that has been taken down. The couple in the frame looks perfect, their child beautiful, yet the empty wall where it used to hang says more than the picture ever could. She wonders quietly whether his father even lives here anymore. Her feet carry her to the one door she was never meant to open, Ki-hyun's room. The air inside feels different, private, charged with everything he keeps locked away from the polished version of himself the world is allowed to see. He finds her there. The question comes out low and sharp. Why does she want so much? In the next breath, the careful distance between them collapses. He catches her, voice tight, insisting he is different from the other kids who let people wander through their lives without consequence. For a moment, it feels like something irreversible is about to happen. Then he pulls back, breath uneven, muttering that he was not going to do it, that he simply hates when anyone steps into his space. The almost is somehow worse than if he had finished the thought. Gaon's voice cuts through the doorway and the spell breaks. They scramble to look ordinary again, but Do-young already knows the truth she will carry out of this house. The only reason the moment stopped where it did is because Gaon was there, and next time she might not be. Night settles over a quiet street, and Do-young is not alone. Kwon Tae-oh has found her outside her own home, phone in hand, replaying the messages she thought were harmless group project chatter. He steps closer in the empty alley and asks why a girl like her is out so late. The question lands wrong. Do-young freezes, already sensing this conversation is not about homework. She demands to know how he learned where she lives. Tae-oh shrugs it off as chance, claiming he spotted her outside the academy with So Ki-hyun and simply could not approach then. The implication hangs heavy between them. Then he says the quiet part out loud. He thinks she has feelings for him. Every polite reply she sent, every late-night message about the assignment, he read as something warmer. Do-young's eyes go wide with the weight of that misunderstanding. Alone afterward, the chat logs glow on her screen like evidence she never meant to leave. She tells herself she only needed to draw a cleaner line. The ache of being misread settles deep, and sleep does not come easy. Morning arrives soft and ordinary, cherry blossoms drifting past the school gate. Ki-hyun notices the shadows under Do-young's eyes immediately. She brushes it off as late studying, but the lie sits thin between them. Ki-hyun himself looks worn down, and the whole classroom feels it. Whispers start. Someone wonders if his mood has anything to do with Gaon. The three of them keep orbiting the same quiet tension no one wants to name. Gaon and Do-young end up talking about a small gift and a trip to the store. It should be simple. Yet when Gaon says she kind of wants to go together, something fragile and hopeful flickers across Do-young's face. Ki-hyun overhears. He offers to go too, then offers to talk to Gaon himself. The worry in his voice is real, but Gaon cuts him off hard. What, she asks, would she ever open up about to someone she barely knows? The words sting more than anyone admits. Ki-hyun falls quiet, then tells Do-young to do whatever she wants. He is not that much either, he says, and the resignation in it lands heavier than anger ever could. Do-young finds Gaon outside and simply asks if something happened. Gaon stares, startled that anyone noticed so quickly. Other than Ki-hyun, almost no one ever does. They sit on a bench under soft light. Gaon tries to push the concern away, half teasing that Do-young must like her a lot to be this careful. But Do-young does not laugh it off. She stays. Then Do-young offers something of her own. She talks about needing a friend she can speak to without pressure, and the name Kwon Tae-oh slips out. Yesterday's alley suddenly feels very close again. Gaon's expression sharpens. Aren't you scared, she asks. Do-young admits she is, even while insisting Tae-oh would never really harm her. The two girls sit with that fear between them, neither quite knowing how to set it down. Do-young suggests telling Ki-hyun. Gaon's answer is immediate and final. No, Ki-hyun and Kwon do not get along. There was a time, she says quietly, when she was really disappointed. The chapter closes on a darker memory. Something happened back in middle school, something that still lives behind Ki-hyun's eyes. Whatever it was, it is still shaping every careful word these three refuse to say out loud. Gaeon starts opening up about the kind of person she has always been. She drifts on the edges of groups, drawn to the kids no one else bothers with, and that habit is how Kwon Taek first entered her life. In the first year of middle school, Taek was quiet, closed off, nothing like the boy he later became. Something about that isolation reminded Gaeon of the first time she met Ki-hyun, and maybe that is why she kept reaching for him even when he stayed prickly. She treated him better than anyone else, approaching first until little by little, Taek began to open up. But the version of him that emerged was not the one she hoped for. Taek starts crossing every line. He says things meant to hurt, acts without boundaries, brags about smoking and violence like they make him cool. The whole class grows uncomfortable, and still Gaon keeps defending him. In the end, everyone simply avoids him. Gaon tries to persuade the class, but nothing works. The distance only hardens, and Taek looks angrier for it. Even now, the weight of that failure sits on her. She thanks someone for the small kindness of noticing she has been trying, while Ki-hyun watches from a distance, already sensing the storm under the surface. Rumors swirl that Gaon and Ki-hyun have been close since elementary school, that something more must exist between them. Gaon only ever wanted everyone to get along. That simple wish is about to cost more than she can pay. The breaking point arrives in the open. Taek's behavior turns violent again. Gaon steps between them, begging him to stop making everything harder, but the damage is already past talking. Someone points out the truth Gaon does not want to hear. She only cares this much because she still sees something special in him. Then the fists start flying, and Gaon is left alone on a bench with the sound of it ringing in her ears. A phone call cuts through the aftermath. Someone demands to know why she has not been answering, what happened to her face. Gaon only says she will settle it and names the place. That was the first time Gaon ever saw Ki-hyun lose every scrap of reason. He hits Taek without holding back, and when she screams his name, he does not even seem to hear her. The boy she trusted most has become someone unrecognizable in that moment. Gaon tries to explain the root of it all. She is the daughter of people the world called heroes, raised on the belief that you never leave the lonely behind. How could she watch Taek suffer the same isolation she once knew and do nothing? The water was already spilled. She tells herself she is the only one left who can still reach him, the only one who understands how soft he has become underneath the anger. Ki-hyun stands with her in the quiet after, and for a moment it feels like they might still fix it together. Back in the present, Gaon looks at Do-young and says she understands everything. From now on, she will help too. After that day, Ki-hyun changed. He reflected, confessed to the teachers, and the class crowned him a hero for the very violence that once shocked them. What Gaon never expected was how completely the air around her would shift. Kids who once trusted her now flock to Ki-hyun instead. One day, he even apologizes to her out of nowhere, and the space she used to occupy simply closes over. She realizes too late that the thing she thought was right ended up hurting people, and now the same shape of trouble is forming again. Gaon is scared that Ki-hyun will lose himself the same way, this time because of her. If Ki-hyun ever learns the full truth after the fact, Gaon believes he will only grow angrier. Outside, he stands alone against the brick wall, close enough that the words might already have reached him. The yearning that has shaped all three of them is about to demand its price. Gaon finally lets the quiet crack open. Sitting with Do-young, she admits how scared she used to be of hurting people, how that old fear still lives under her skin like an accent she never quite lost. Do-young just listens, steady and present, the kind of presence Gaon has never known how to ask for. The words keep coming. Gaon says she never thought she did anything wrong, yet the weight of other people's kindness still startles her. Do-young's answer is simple and devastating. She accepted Gaon for exactly who she is. For a girl who has spent years performing perfection, that kind of acceptance feels almost too large to hold. Do-young tries to brush it off, claiming those words she once needed were just noise. But Gaon sees through her. She tells Do-young she thinks they can really be friends for a long time, maybe for life. The offer lands softly, and for a moment Do-young almost believes the loneliness might loosen its grip. They agree they should get along more. Yet even as Gaon smiles, Do-young's mind drifts somewhere else entirely. Will Ki-hyun really stay still through all of this? The question sits unanswered between heartbeats. The answer arrives like a sudden drop in temperature. Ki-hyun is there, arms crossed, eyes sharp, the polished distance he usually wears cracked wide open. He has been watching the two of them, and whatever he saw has already set something burning. He does not waste time. Why are you two meeting alone? What did you talk about with Gaon? The questions come fast, almost rough, and when Do-young freezes, he closes the space between them until there is nowhere left to look but at him. Do-young tries to answer and the words tangle. Ki-hyun's face stays unreadable, but the tension rolling off him is anything but calm. He turns away first, as if standing too close any longer might cost him something he cannot afford to lose. On the quiet walkway above the city, the truth finally surfaces. Do-young realizes Ki-hyun's feelings toward Gaon run far deeper and heavier than anything people simply call love. He does not deny it, he only looks at her like someone who has already accepted the weight. He reaches for her wrist again, almost without thinking, then lets go as if the contact itself burned. Do-young asks the question that has been circling them both. How did he know that fantasy would try to pull him under right then? Ki-hyun's answer is barely a breath. He does not know, not at all. She tells him Gaon trusted her enough to share things she could never say out loud. That Gaon is upright, almost painfully righteous, the kind of person who would only blame herself if someone got hurt because of her words. Ki-hyun listens like every sentence is rearranging something inside him. He hates admitting it, but Do-young's perspective cuts clean through the noise. Gaon confided in someone she barely even knew, and that someone turned out to be the girl standing in front of him now. The next day arrives with no dramatic news, only the quiet dread of unfinished conversations. Do-young walks the empty hallway wondering if Ki-hyun really solved anything. A sudden greeting startles her. She ends up talking about Gaon again, about how she will handle things herself, about the strange boy who once dropped out of school and still lingers at the edges of their story. Then she sees him on the field. No way, she thinks. Ki-hyun is right there, and when she calls his name, he turns like he has been waiting. He looks almost light, almost good-humored, until the conversation circles back to Gaon and the phone that still connects them. He shows her the screen. Gaon is still linked to him by that thin digital thread, and Do-young feels the old ache rise. Ki-hyun warns her there is no real proof in this world, that neither Gaon nor he would believe her if she tried to explain. The only thing left is to act like nothing happened and keep the silence intact. Do-young understands her place with painful clarity. She is just a thorn in his side, someone who stumbled into a story that was never hers to rewrite. In class, the group presentation ends, applause fades, and ordinary life pretends to resume. Afterward, Ki-hyun turns to her with a question that feels too soft for the walls between them. Can she come, even on the weekend? He says it would feel lonely without her, then immediately regrets the honesty, covering his face like the words escaped without permission. Do-young can only stare, heart caught on the one sentence he was never supposed to say out loud. Chapter 10 finds Do-young alone in her room, staring at her reflection like the answer might be hiding there. She wonders if this is enough, if she is enough. For a day, she has been quietly dreading and wanting in equal measure. Today, she is meeting Ki-hyun outside of school for the first time, and the thought of seeing him in ordinary clothes has her heart doing something unsteady. Her mother clocks the nerves instantly and teases her about meeting a boy. Do-young tries to deny it, then admits it is a boy after all. Her mother just groans and tells her to clean her room already. Time slips away while she is still standing there, and suddenly she is rushing out the door with her mother calling after her. Ki-hyun is already waiting when she arrives. He came early, and he is not alone. Gaon stands with him, and the three of them are about to step into a day that feels both ordinary and impossibly charged. Gaon admits she does not really know what kids usually do to hang out, but she has already mapped the whole course in advance. Do-young, still adjusting to the sight of Ki-hyun outside school walls, simply follows. They drift through the bright noise of an arcade, games flashing around them like a borrowed kind of normal. For a little while, the weight they all carry seems lighter, almost forgettable. Later, they sit with plates of food between them, and Do-young quietly photographs the desserts as if she can keep the moment that way. Ki-hyun is right there across the table, and Gaon fills the air with easy talk while something unspoken keeps circling. They end up with a pile of tickets and stop to choose matching charms. When Do-young lingers over one, Ki-hyun offers without thinking he will buy it for her. The small kindness lands harder than it should. But inside Do-young, the old ache is already waking up. She told herself not to get her hopes up. What if he already likes someone else? She keeps repeating that there is no way her quiet feelings could ever be answered. She promised herself she would not get between them because she understands exactly what it costs to want someone from a distance. Looking at Gaon, she lists every reason Ki-hyun would choose her instead and decides she must be nothing but an eyesore interrupting their time. And yet, holding that little red charm, a fragile question slips through anyway. Is it okay for her to hope? Could she at least become his friend? The moment shatters when Ki-hyun's phone rings. It is his father, the actor Seo Kang-suk, demanding he buy alcohol and come home, the words sharp and humiliating. Ki-hyun's whole face closes as the threats keep coming. He hangs up looking smaller than before and says he has to go, something about bringing food to his grandmother. He asks Gaon to take Do-young home, and just like that, the day they were sharing is over. Walking with Gaon, Do-young hears something she never expected. Gaon tells her quietly and seriously that she thinks Ki-hyun likes her, that this is the first time she has seen him open his heart to someone else the way he has with Do-young. Do-young can barely process the words. Me? No way, when the street suddenly screams. A motorcycle barrels toward them. Gaon shouts her name, and then everything collides in a blur of impact and fear. Ki-hyun gets the call and runs all the way to the hospital. He finds Do-young and pulls her into a desperate hold, the yearning between them raw and unguarded for one breathless second. Then the tenderness curdles into fury. He turns on Gaon, voice cracking with everything he cannot control. She could not even protect someone smaller than her. She called him instead of anyone else. She is more pathetic than he imagined. Do-young can only whisper that she was scared. He leaves to check on Gaon, and Do-young is left alone in the hallway with her arms wrapped around herself. When her parents finally arrive, late and worried, she tells them she is okay. The word hangs thin and untrue as the chapter closes on her face, still hoping, still hurting, still reaching for someone who keeps slipping further out of reach. The scrape on Do-young's arm is nothing, she insists. Just a little red, just a little proof that something almost went terribly wrong. But Ki-hyun is already standing there like the near miss rewrote the air between them. He keeps asking how she got hurt, voice tight, as if the answer might steady him. Gaon is there too, pointing out the obvious. Do-young almost got hit, and Ki-hyun admits he panicked, shoving her clear of the motorcycle. Then the worry turns sharp. Why does she only ever think about protecting everyone else and never her own body? He wants to know if she even understands what it does to the people watching her get hurt. Do-young explains it simply. The motorcycle came straight at her. She moved the way she did so it would not become something worse. A few scrapes, she says. She is fine. Ki-hyun just stares, still caught in the aftershock. He tries again, quieter this time. He was only worried about her. The words hang there, unfinished, until footsteps approach and the moment fractures. Do-young's parents arrive in a rush of concern and relief. She introduces them, and suddenly the hallway fills with polite hellos and the careful choreography of strangers who already matter too much. Gaon steps forward with bright gratitude, thanking Ki-hyun for saving Do-young and offering her name. Ki-hyun manages a quiet hello. Then another boy mentions he is also a Seo, and something in Do-young's father snaps to attention. The recognition hits hard. This is the boy Do-young has talked about, the one from the Sundays, the one the family already half knows. Her father cannot keep the volume down, and the word future son-in-law slips out before anyone can stop it. Embarrassment floods the space. Do-young's father keeps talking about how kind and pretty she is, how much she likes this boy, while Ki-hyun stands frozen and Gaon is still somewhere inside the building. The class difference, the rumors, the years of quiet longing all press in at once. Ki-hyun finally finds his voice. He and Do-young are just classmates. They grew close because she was sick as a child, nothing more. Gaon is usually there too. He keeps the explanation careful, almost gentle, as if one wrong word could break the fragile peace. Do-young's father softens, apologizing for cherishing his daughter too loudly. Ki-hyun says he understands. The parents offer hospital bills and rides home, then leave with Gaon, still half convinced they have just met someone important. In the car, the parents keep circling the same idea. Do-young likes Ki-hyun. He seems kind. The first impression of a future son-in-law cannot be bad. Do-young sits quiet, staring out at the night, carrying every word they said. Later, outside, Ki-hyun offers to take her home. Her house is not far, he can stop by. Do-young refuses. She will take a taxi alone. The refusal is soft, but it lands like a closed door. She says his name once, then again that she is okay. Ki-hyun looks at her for a long second and finally answers with a quiet okay of his own. The space between them feels wider than the street. Alone, Ki-hyun exhales hard and checks his phone. One message from Do-young saying she will not do it again. The nausea he has been carrying drops straight through him, heavy and sudden. He knows it was not only her fault. She can be frustrating, but she is not a bad person. He knows that in his head. So why does the irritation keep rising every time he looks at her? Every time Gaon is somehow part of the picture too. Night settles over the city, and inside one quiet apartment, the air already feels heavy. Seo Ki-hyun stands alone in the hallway, the weight of another evening at home pressing down on him before a single word is spoken. His father's voice cuts through the silence like it always does. Ki-hyun doesn't even get the chance to explain himself. He already knows how this ends. He has lived this exact scene too many times to pretend otherwise. He takes the hit without fighting back. Cleaning up afterward always becomes his job anyway. Better to just absorb it and move on than make the night worse. The words his father throws at him are the same ones that have followed him since childhood. Somewhere under the anger sits an old, bitter truth. There was a time when the whole country loved the image of this family. Ki-hyun's father still clings to that version of himself, the polished husband and caring dad the cameras once sold. The real man never quite matched the role. Ki-hyun laughs under his breath, sharp and empty. The program that made them famous also trapped them. Because of that perfect family story, his father can never fully come back, and Ki-hyun is the one left living with the wreckage. Across town, Cha Do-young sits at a table that feels too quiet. Food waits in front of her, but her mind is somewhere else entirely. Even the people closest to her can sense something is off, though no one pushes too hard. She slips out of the house under the excuse of a quick walk. The night air is already turning damp. Do-young tells herself she just needs space, but her steps carry her farther than she planned. That is when she runs into him. Ki-hyun stands under the streetlight, phone in hand, looking just as surprised as she feels. For a second, neither of them knows what to say. Then he notices the swelling on her face. Do-young tries to brush it off. She is not a child. She did not fall. The name that leaves her lips next lands heavy between them. She simply let it happen. Ki-hyun goes still, the pieces clicking into place in a way that clearly unsettles him. He asks if Gaon knows. Do-young shakes her head. The last thing she wants is to become someone else's worry. Ki-hyun understands that feeling better than most, and the quiet that follows is thick with everything neither of them is ready to name. Rain starts without warning, soft at first and then pouring. Neither of them brought an umbrella. Standing there soaked suddenly feels more dangerous than either wants to admit. Ki-hyun offers his place almost before he can stop himself. Do-young turns the offer around with quiet stubbornness. Spending the night outside is too much, but his house feels like too far a step. She says nothing is going to happen between them anyway. Ki-hyun has no good answer for that. So they end up at her place instead. The apartment is small, the kind of home that makes class differences impossible to ignore. Her mother barely hesitates before letting him stay. Spare clothes are found, a corner is made. Once the door closes behind them, regret hits Ki-hyun hard. Why did he follow her so easily? Why did he tell her about his father at all? The words came out before he could stop them, and now he is standing in her room with nowhere left to hide. He tells himself he will just stay awake until morning. He is not the kind of person who would make her uncomfortable on purpose. Do-young, quiet and matter-of-fact, simply offers him the bed and settles onto the floor like it is the most natural thing in the world. Ki-hyun stares down at her, something complicated twisting in his chest. He told her to take the bed. She refused without even blinking. For a boy who has spent years keeping everyone at a careful distance, her simple kindness feels almost impossible to understand. And in the quiet of that tiny room, one stunned thought rises above everything else. Is she really an idiot? Or is she the first person in a long time who looked at him and simply decided he was worth the trouble? Neither of them is going to sleep easy tonight. Before the quiet hallways and the sideways glances, Seo Ki-hyun was something else entirely, a polished child actor whose whole world lived under studio lights, while his mother stood just off camera, steering every choice. Even then, he understood what the work was supposed to mean: opportunity, support, a future his mother had already mapped out for both of them. He tells her he will do it, and the words land heavier than any script. For a while, everything runs smooth. The kids at school look up to him. The cameras love him. He tells himself it is for his parents, not for the applause, and maybe he even believes it. Then the shine cracks. A scandal, a canceled show, and a backlash so loud it swallows the attention he once had. Talent and luck were never enough once the public decided he was finished. At home, the silence turns sharp. Chaos in the hallway, a fall, the kind of ordinary afternoon that suddenly is not ordinary at all. Ki-hyun reaches for his mother and finds only the echo of what he should have said sooner. She is gone. The calendar still marks the date like nothing has changed, and the funeral becomes a circus of strangers and cameras. Seo Ki-hyun does not show. The boy who once belonged to everyone is left completely alone in what he calls a hellhole. Even the adults who should have cared only turn up when there is a story to chase. A girl who once watched him on television finds him afterward, soft and hopeful, and he shatters the moment with pure, raw anger. He tells her to get lost. He hates the show, hates his father, hates everything that made him visible. Then he runs, leaving the last scrap of kindness behind him on the pavement. Years later, the rumors still follow him through school like a second shadow. Kids whisper that Seo Ki-hyun is scary, that something about him never came back right. Everything he thinks is completely ruined. But Kim Gallen is still here, same class, same quiet orbit. She greets him like the past never happened, and for a second, he almost looks like someone who could be reached. They walk. He admits he is barely holding it together. She thought he was just another cold kid from the old stories, until the street erupts and a car comes too close and she pulls him out of the way. On the ground, she asks if he is hurt, then asks the harder question. Does he have any wish left at all? He looks at her like the answer has been buried for years, and she tells him she already knows who he used to be. Gaeon does not flinch from the old name. She talks about prejudice and jealousy and the way people decide your whole life from a screen. Then she says the quiet part out loud. She does not have parents either. They passed on together, and she is still proud of them. Somewhere watching all of this is Cha Do-young. This is where her long, quiet yearning truly begins. Seo Ki-hyun does not let people close. He is sensitive and cold and covered in thorns. The only person who ever got through was Kim Gallen. Do-young feels the ache of it like a bruise. Her own feelings start to look small beside the history Gaeon and Ki-hyun already share. She wonders if everything she carries is just shallow compared to a bond built on real loss. Then the truth cuts deeper. Ki-hyun admits he cannot be happy without Gon. He is using the space Do-young occupies because Gon has started pulling away, and the distance is making him desperate in ways he can barely name. He never meant for any of it to land on Do-young. He only reached for her because he could not figure out what Gaon was thinking, and the fear of losing the one person who stayed has turned him reckless. If this feeling is trivial, he still cannot let it go. And Do-young is left holding the question that hurts the most. If Ki-hyun is this desperate for someone else, then what exactly has she been yearning for all this time? The chapter opens on a quiet threshold. Guests are leaving Ki-hyun's place after an unexpected visit, and he sees them out with careful politeness while something heavier sits under his skin. The door shuts. Alone in the hallway, Ki-hyun lets out a long breath like he has been holding himself together the entire time. Relief and dread arrive in the same moment. He thinks about how close the timing was. If his father had come home even a little earlier, the whole fragile piece would have cracked open again. The house still carries the shape of old arguments. Ki-hyun turns the problem over in his mind and comes up empty. He wants to help, but words have never been his gift, and every choice he makes feels like it could make things worse. Memory pulls him backward. The fights with his father, the scuffles that never really ended, the way the same anger keeps returning in new clothes. Then and now blur together until he can hardly tell them apart. He reaches for a bottle that does not even taste good and drinks anyway. Everything is flowing past him, and staying in that house feels like daring himself to do something he will regret. So he leaves. Just for today, he tells himself. He needs air and space and a chance to think without the walls closing in. Morning softens the edges. Gaon greets Do-young with bright, ordinary warmth, and for a moment, the three of them almost look like they could keep getting along forever. Do-young clutches a little charm on her bag like it is proof she belongs somewhere. But under Gaon's smile is a private ache. She has not spoken a real word to Ki-hyun since the festival, and she cannot even explain why she pushed him away. Standing near him feels like watching the back of her own childhood walk out of reach. Ki-hyun finds her and asks for a second. On a quiet bench, he apologizes for being insensitive, and Gaeon softens at once. She reminds him that he was always the one who looked out for her when they were small, even when she was too oblivious to notice. The makeup lands like sunlight after rain. Ki-hyun lights up with pure relief, and Do-young, watching from a little distance, feels the knot in her chest loosen. She has been half unsure of her place, but seeing them whole again steadies her. Something shifts in Ki-hyun then. If he wants to understand Gaeon better, maybe the person who can help him is Do-young herself. He starts turning that idea over with a quiet, dangerous hope. After school, he finds Do-young and simply tells her to follow him. No long explanation, just that quiet pull he has always had, the one that makes her heart stumble before her feet do. They end up across from each other at a small table, plates of pasta between them. Do-young can barely process it, alone with Ki-hyun, eating, existing in the same ordinary moment she used to only watch through a screen. When the bill comes, he waves off her panic and pays without ceremony. Then he says there is somewhere else they need to go. Do-young trails after him through the streets, still half convinced she is dreaming. Meanwhile, Gaon is home with her grandmother, listening to soft worries about side dishes and studies. She steps outside for groceries and freezes. There, at the end of the path, are Ki-hyun and Do-young walking together like it is the most natural thing in the world. Ki-hyun said he had plans today. He never said those plans were with Do-young. Gaon stands there with the evening light on her face, and the quiet between the three of them suddenly feels a lot less simple than it did that morning. Do-young walks away, replaying every clumsy word she just said, already hating how small she sounded. Across from her, Ki-hyun is thinking the same thing from the other side. She is the hardest person in the world to talk to, and somehow that only makes the silence heavier. He finally snaps her back to the present inside a quiet cafe. She apologizes on instinct, and he tells her to stop saying sorry for nothing. Even a simple conversation between them feels like walking on glass. Ki-hyun sits her down and gets to the point. The reason he called her here is simple and sharp. He needs to buy Gawon a birthday present, and he wants Do-young's help figuring out what she would actually want. The date lands on her like a weight. May 26th. Gaeon's birthday. Do-young freezes, mind scrambling, because the truth is she no longer knows what her old friend dreams about. She admits it quietly. Gaeon never says those things to her anymore. Once they both grew up, even the small wishes stopped being shared out loud, and now Do-young has nothing solid to offer him. They dig through scraps of memory anyway. Cosmetics she once liked, a body wash, anything that might still matter. Ki-hyun listens like every detail is a clue he cannot afford to miss. Then Do-young remembers the one thing that actually counts. Gaon wants medicine for her grandmother. The air shifts. This is no longer about a pretty gift. It is about the quiet weight Gaon carries alone. Ki-hyun files it away and stands. He brought food so she would not walk home empty-handed. And just like that, the strange little meeting ends. Morning comes and Gaon is already back on her feet, insisting she feels fine. At school, the classroom explodes into celebration. Happy birthday, Gaon. Cake, cheers, classmates pressing gifts into her hands while she laughs and promises to return the favor someday. Someone notices Ki-hyun has not handed anything over yet. He says he will give his later, and the room fills with knowing looks. Everyone already treats the two of them like a secret that is not very secret at all. Do-young watches from the edge of it all. She wants to congratulate Gaon too. She wants to give a present like a real friend would, but Ki-hyun's presence feels like a quiet boundary she is not allowed to cross. Still, she finds Gaon alone outside and holds out a small gift of her own. Writing supplies, something practical, something that says she was paying attention even when no one asked her to. Gaon's face lights up. She really was thinking about a new pencil. Out of everything, she says, this is the one she will use the most. For a moment, Do-young gets to be the person who got it right. Later, Ki-hyun finds Gaon on the street and offers his own bag. Inside is the real gift, the one that reaches past birthday paper and straight into her life, something careful and expensive for her grandmother. Gaon goes still. She tells him it is too much, that she feels burdened, but Ki-hyun only says he worries about her grandmother the same way she does. He has been carrying that quiet care for years. She thanks him with her whole heart, smiling like he is the only person who ever truly sees her. And then the question hits her alone. How does Ki-hyun know exactly what she wanted and exactly what she is going through? The answer settles over her like cold water. No way. Somewhere behind them, Do-young stands alone in the hallway, the girl who handed over every secret without ever being the one Gaon turns toward. The yearning just keeps drawing its quiet circles. Do-young sits alone on the school bench again, that familiar quiet settling around her like a second skin. Across the way, Ki-hyun is lost in his phone, scrolling through recent pictures that are all of Gaon. The gap between them feels wider than the courtyard. His eyes catch on one image and something softens, then hardens. Do-young watches him walk off and can only whisper his name into the empty air. She still orbits him from a distance she never quite knows how to close. She finds the phone he left behind and freezes when the screen lights up with Gaon's face. Ki-hyun turns back, startled, and tells her to keep it. The offer lands heavier than either of them expected. Do-young stares at the device like it might burn her. He had pictures of Gaon on this phone, and she took it thinking it was hers. The quiet between them fills with everything they will not say about the girl who always seems to stand in the middle. She keeps looking even after he walks away, worried he will delete everything because the sadness sits so plainly on his face. If she holds onto the phone, maybe the evidence of whatever once existed between him and Gaon will not simply vanish. They end up on the same bench again. Ki-hyun tells her to just hold onto it, and the words feel like both a gift and a burden. Do-young wants to ask what Gaon really means to him, but the question stays locked behind her teeth. He admits he never wanted to be hated by Gaon, and the confession lands softly. Do-young studies his profile and wonders, not for the first time, what it would feel like to be the one he protects. The ache of wanting that is almost gentle. Later, he sits alone with the thought of Gaon's true feelings, the ones no one ever says out loud. She had heard a little, enough to know there was no simple happy ending waiting, and still she could not bring herself to feel jealous of someone so flawlessly beautiful. In class, someone pulls up a trailer for a mini horror movie and the whole room lights up with interest. Do-young is quiet about it, but Ki-hyun notices. When a classmate teases that she does not seem the type, he simply says he likes horror movies too. After school, he finds her by the windows and asks what she is thinking. The invitation comes out almost casually. Could he go with her this one time because he really wanted to see that film too? Do-young's answer is small but certain. She likes it. Something in his expression tightens anyway, and she cannot stop wondering why he looks so annoyed. He tells her to stop feeling awkward every time she sees him, then names the theater and the time, 8 o'clock. Just like that, the evening is decided. Do-young arrives at the movie lounge alone, heart already racing. Gaon is not coming. It is just the two of them, and the thought sends a flutter of both excitement and fear through her. She steps into the dark theater, telling herself she can handle a little scare. She is still settling into the red seats when Ki-hyun appears beside her. He is not sitting far away or waiting for anyone else. When she stammers about watching alone, he simply reminds her there are people all around and that horror movies are meant to be enjoyed on your own terms. The film wastes no time. A sudden jolt sends Do-young half out of her seat, hands flying to her ears. She is so sorry, she whispers, and slips out for a moment to catch her breath while the rest of the theater stays glued to the screen. In the hallway, another scare catches her completely off guard. She nearly collides with Ki-hyun, who has followed her out. Embarrassment floods her face as she apologizes again, and he only sighs, half amused, half something softer. She tells him never to get cocky like that again. If he had acted the same way in front of Gaon, the other girl would have felt truly bad. Ki-hyun goes quiet, watching her, and something in his chest settles into a truth he has been circling for a long time. Cha Do-young is his ally after all. No matter how much the world or his own complicated heart tries to push her away, she remains stubbornly, foolishly kind, and the quiet certainty lands with the weight of a promise neither of them has spoken yet. Do-young is stuck in a conversation she never wanted. Someone offers to cover the movie ticket, but the moment feels wrong, and she can already feel herself pulling away before the night even starts. She forces a soft exit, promising next time, and slips free, barely. The relief on her face is quiet, like someone who has spent years practicing how to disappear from a room without making a sound. And then the world tilts. Across the open space, she sees them, Ki-hyun and Gaon, standing close enough that the air between them feels private. Do-young freezes, watching the kind of ease she has never been allowed to share with him. The thought lands heavy and familiar. Ki-hyun always looks happy when he is with Gaon. With Do-young, he always looked like the moment itself was a burden. She turns away before the ache can settle deeper. She still calls his name. He answers like any classmate would, polite and distant, and she immediately scolds herself for hoping for more. If watching from afar is all she gets, why does she keep acting petty about the girl who actually belongs beside him? The truth she will not say out loud is simple and ugly. She does not want him alone with Gaon, even though everyone, including Do-young herself, can see they are the perfect match, even though the whole school already decided that story for them. Ki-hyun's voice cuts through her spiral. He calls her name and tells her to come with him, and something in her chest loosens. These small gestures of ordinary kindness still melt her every single time. They walk side by side under the open sky. He is not ashamed to be seen with her. For a girl who has spent years orbiting him from the wrong side of a screen, that alone feels like a day she never believed could reach her world. Back at school, the roles reverse again. A teacher wants Ki-hyun alone, even though Gaon is class president and he is only vice. Do-young notices the way people already treat him like the one who carries the real weight. In the classroom, Gaon checks on her, bright and easy. Do-young claims she is fine, just dandy, then admits she is cramming kitchen homework she never finished. Gaon laughs it off and heads for the restroom, leaving Do-young alone with her bag. Ki-hyun appears in the hallway asking for Gaon. When she returns, the three of them settle into something that looks almost normal. Homework talk, soft smiles, the kind of ordinary afternoon Do-young never quite knows how to stand inside. Then Do-young opens her bag and the floor drops out. The thing Ki-hyun told her to keep is gone. Their house is small, her father comes and goes. She thought the bag was safer. Now she has no idea how to explain any of it. Outside, Gaon has already found what fell. She holds it up for Ki-hyun with quiet seriousness. It is Taekin's phone, the boy who cut contact and transferred schools, and it came out of Do-young's bag. Ki-hyun's face tightens. Gaon is too sharp for comfort. She has always been the one who saw straight through him, the one he struggled with most. She trusts Do-young after less than a year, yet she looks at him first with suspicion. Inside, he is unraveling. He has tried so hard to become the ideal person Gaon could like, to prove he changed since middle school. And still, she worries about everyone else before she worries about him. Do-young is already running, heart in her throat. She never should have kept it. She only wanted to protect him, the same way she always has, quietly and too late. Then and now, the pattern never changes. Gaon's question cuts clean through all three of them. Why does he protect Cha Do-young, someone he barely knows, more than her? Ki-hyun answers like it is the simplest truth in the world, and Do-young, standing in the wreckage of everything unsaid, can only whisper that it is nothing.